Okay, let's head back to Durham Region, where police are providing an update on the murder of Ariel Kaplan. Let's listen in.
We can also accommodate that as well, too. So I'd like to introduce Detective Sergeant Doris Carrier.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So our intent today is to provide an update on the homicide investigation related to Ariel Kaplan and to further appeal to the public for information on this case. As you may recall, police responded to the area of Concession Road 6 and Albright Road in Uxbridge on Tuesday, May 10th, 2022. At that time, human remains were recovered concealed inside a hockey bag that was retrieved from a private pond adjacent to the road. Shortly after this discovery, Durham Regional Police Homicide Unit, in collaboration with the Office of the Chief Coroner, identified the body as Ariel Kaplan. The results of the post-mortem, along with information obtained from the investigation, has determined the deceased was murdered. As previously indicated in our first release, Toronto Police Service initiated a missing persons investigation in September 2021. Through our investigation, we now believe Mr. Kaplan was abducted from the area of Yonge Street and Shepherd Avenue in Toronto on August 29, 2021, before he was killed and his body was disposed of. His last known location was corroborated in part through cell data and interviews. Based on witness account, Mr. Kaplan appeared to fear for his safety in the days and weeks that preceded his abduction. This case is multi-jurisdictional, and the Durham Regional Police Service have received the support of the Toronto Police Service through this joint investigation. The team has conducted well over 125 interviews and analyzed hundreds of thousands of data files and documents from dozens of judicial authorizations to advance this investigation. Analysis of cell phone data, social media, bank records, and numerous inquiries with agencies from Canada and abroad have been part of our investigation. Investigators also believe that on the night of his disappearance, Mr. Kaplan had dinner with several acquaintances at a restaurant in the Yorkville area. According to witnesses in a review of the victim's cell phone data, we believe he attended that restaurant sometime after 9 p.m. on August 29, 2021. We know from our interviews that Mr. Kaplan had ties to the Russian and Jewish communities in Toronto, and further that he had business relationships with members of the Somalian, Italian, and Mexican communities. As much as we are trying to identify the perpetrators, we are also interested in eliminating those that were not involved in his murder. Ariel Kaplan was a son, a brother, an uncle. His death has deeply affected his family, his friends, and his community. At this time, we continue to follow up on leads, but are appealing to the public for any information that could assist in solving this murder and provide some closure to those affected. We would like to hear from anyone who had contact with Ariel Kaplan in any way around the time of his disappearance and in the weeks prior. We also would like to hear from anyone who was present at the dinner with him on August 29, 2021, or any employees of restaurants in the Yorkville area that remember Mr. Kaplan at their establishment last year. If information is circulating within your respective community in relation to this murder, or if someone you know has shared information about this case, we would like to know. Any witnesses that have concerns with reaching out to the police for any reason can share their information through Crime Stoppers. We have set up a dedicated toll-free line for people to reach out to our investigative team. That number is 1-888-579-1520, extension 5444. Thank you, and I can take some of your questions now.
Why do you fear for his safety?
Information, we don't have that information right now, but the reason he feared for his safety is we believe somebody was looking after him or trying to find him.
And you believe could this be the person responsible for this murder?
Possibly. So we know that there are people out there that have this information. That's why we're appealing to the public and asking for them to come forward.
You talked about how you said that he had connections to different communities. There are also reports that he had connections to organized crime.
There's no direct link right now to make us believe that he was linked directly to organized crime. There are many theories that were advanced by some of the witnesses we spoke to. I've mentioned those specific communities because that's what the witness described to us, and I'm hoping that's going to spark some discussions within those communities, and if they hear anything, then we ask them to come forward, talk to our investigators, or provide the information through Crime Stoppers.
He was also wanted by Toronto Police for this alleged theft. Do you believe that this was his murder was retribution for that?
So you're talking about the tractor trailer incident in May? So not wanted, but there were charges in relation to that. We don't have any direct link right now that this is specifically in relation to the murder. However, we remain open and we'll follow the evidence wherever that leads us.
Are you looking at all into organized crime as being involved?
Sorry?
Are you looking into organized crime as a...
Of course, yeah. We're open to all avenues, and obviously that's one of the theories that was advanced by some of our witnesses, but obviously we need to corroborate through evidence, and we will follow the evidence as to where that's going to lead us.
What business was he involved in?
So from witnesses, we believe that he was involved in construction and real estate investments. It's the information we have.
How come you don't know who was at the dinner with him or where, like this, the Yorkville establishment? You don't know what restaurant it was or who he was with?
No, so witnesses have come forward and have provided us information that they believe that he was at a restaurant and was meeting with some acquaintances. We have some cell data that provides us with some information that he was in the area. However, we don't have specifics in relation to the restaurant or the people that he was with at that time. That's why we're appealing to the public. Somebody knows somewhere in this community, and hopefully they'll come forward and speak with us.
Sir, just clarification with regard to the organized crime link. You said you're obviously looking at that as it's been suggested by some of the people you've spoken to. But I think you also said that you have no direct evidence of the victim's involvement himself in organized crime. Is that?
No, there's no direct evidence that he was linked to organized crime or that organized crime is involved in this. However, we're open to all avenues.
Why would someone want to harm him? What do you think? Because he was obviously concerned for his safety, so he knew that somebody may want to harm him.
Yeah, so we do have some information that obviously he had previously been involved in some fraudulent activities with certain people. We don't know whether that's related to the fact that he disappeared on that night. But again, like I said, there is somebody out there that knows somebody in the community, and we're hoping they can come forward.
Detective, there's obviously a long timeline between when he was abducted and when his remains were found. Did that affect your investigation in terms of being able to look at surveillance video and that kind of stuff that didn't exist anymore? Was common, so we have that?
Of course, it makes it a lot harder for us when we are starting an investigation several months after the disappearance. But obviously there was a missing persons investigation that was conducted by Toronto. Our investigation has built upon that foundation that was done by Toronto. But yes, it does affect us and the ability to go back and retrieve video footage from some of the areas that he was at. There was a question there?
Has cause of death been determined?
Cause of death, obviously, we're not going to release that information at this point. We're going to use that, obviously, to verify some of the veracity of some of our witnesses that will come forward, but we're not releasing this information at this time.
Is there any
Organized crime is involved. I mean, how much more difficult does this make this case?
It makes it significantly more difficult because typically people in that community don't necessarily speak to the police or share information. But we know that that information is circulating likely amongst other people, and hopefully we're hoping that somebody has heard something and can provide us with maybe additional names, some witnesses that we can identify and speak with, and from there move the investigation forward.
Do you know if he's been investigated by any?
Okay, we've been watching live a press conference with Durham Regional Police. This is the detective sergeant in charge of the case of 32-year-old Ariel Kaplan, whose body was found inside of a hockey bag in Uxbridge. The detective sergeant now saying police believe that Kaplan was abducted from Yonge and Sheppard on August 29th, 2021. He said at the time he feared for his safety. He felt as though someone was watching him. The detective sergeant also talking about the fact that the night that he went missing, so back in August 2021, police now believe Kaplan had dinner at a restaurant in Yorkville around 9 p.m. with friends. They managed to find that out because of cell phone data. They have not been able to pinpoint exactly which restaurant and with whom. And that's why police have now put out this appeal today asking anyone who may have been with Ariel Kaplan that night to come forward, and for anyone with information in general to contact police. We'll continue to follow this developing story.